In the top stories, the top cop says guns are coming into the country at an alarming rate. The central bank reports 0.5% growth in 2015, and relay fair patrons are assured of seating at the National Stadium. Welcome to Nation News for Tuesday, January 19, 2016. I'm Natasha Beckles. Acting Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith says firearms are pouring into the country at an extremely high rate, and loopholes at the island's ports of entry need to be identified and closed. Speaking at the opening of a crime-fighting symposium, he said 65 illegal firearms were confiscated last year, compared with 25 in 2014. Mr. Griffith said an urgent review needs to be undertaken of the security systems at the ports, and he is willing to work with other law enforcement agencies and interest groups in this regard.
Here in Barbados, we see the continued negative impact of gun-related violence as noted by the loss of life and the use of firearms to commit other crimes. I am of the firm view that the response to this challenge cannot be driven solely by police intervention, but is one that requires full public discussion, collaboration, and participation. I've always been of the view that the way forward on this matter cannot be advanced by persons shouting across the corridors at each other, but is one that requires national, structured, and well-directed interventions. All Barbadians need to understand that the continued unfettered access to tote and the use of illegal firearms is a situation that requires the support of all civic-minded persons.
The tourism sector recorded its best performance in recent times last year, but it only resulted in 0.5% growth in the economy. This was revealed on Tuesday by Central Bank Governor Dr. Delal Worrell in his quarterly review.
There was a 13% increase in airlift from major source markets, an expansion in room stock, and refurbishment of aging hotel plant. The tourism outturn was the best on record since 2007, with activity in the sector rebounding to pre-crisis levels. Tourism receipts grew by an estimated 5%, with arrivals up by 14%, and all major markets recorded double-digit increases. Tourism was the only sector to record measurable growth.
In his outlook for this year, Dr. Worrell said growth of 1.8% is projected, with tourism and construction leading the way. These sectors are expected to spur wholesale, retail, and business services. Several departments at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, especially accident and emergency, are set to benefit from this year's Broadway to Barbados show. Chairman of the Trust, Robert Bourque, outlines some of the benefits they have already provided.
Since its inception as of June 30th, 2015, we have generated total cash and commitments of $1.6 million. And we have an objective of $2.5 million. And we had cash on hand of $272,000. We have equipped the newly operating MIC with 11 beds and accessories, bedside monitors, a defibrillator, an ECG, transport monitors, a portable bronchoscope, a ventilator and accessories, and other smaller equipment needed. With funds raised in 2016, we expect to surpass $1 million of commitments to the QEH.
Mr. Bourque also announced private benefactor Albert Friedberg had committed $100,000, which would go towards the purchase of an ultrasound machine and a central monitoring system. The pediatric department and medical intensive care unit are also set to benefit. Head of A&E, Dr. Cheney Williams, acknowledged the department was facing challenges.
The reality is we are the only 24-hour level 1 trauma center on the island, so most persons with severe, acute, life-threatening complaints will have to come to our doors, whether it be surgical, needing ICU care, pediatric care, obstetric care, etc. So we all know the challenges that we may face from time to time, and our challenges basically are summed as due to overcrowding. We are only a 15-room facility, seeing 40,000 patients a year, and we have the overcrowding leads to bottlenecks, and as a result, decreasing our turnaround time and long waiting times.
Broadway to Barbados will be held on February 25th, 26th, 27th, and March 3rd to 5th at Frank Cullimore Hall. Barbados will not be joining Jamaica and Brazil in advising women to delay becoming pregnant while the Zika virus spreads. Health officials in the two countries issued caution given the possible link between the virus and microcephaly, a disease which causes abnormal brain growth in babies. They also advised women who are already pregnant to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes. However, Acting Chief Medical Officer Arthur Phillips told Nation News while there may be a link, the risk for complications is very low. 3 cases of Zika have been confirmed here. 175 athletes will take to the road on Thursday, that's Errol Barrow Day, for the 50th anniversary of Independence Trident Run. They will run from Independence Square to the Glebe in St. George, carrying the commemorative broken trident. A sunset concert will be held at the Glebe. Chairman of the Independence Celebration Secretariat, Senator Maxine Mcclean, said the event will celebrate the legacy of Errol Barrow.
The run is intended to acknowledge a number of places along the route upon which the Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow left an indelible mark, whether in his personal, public, or professional career. Among those institutions will be Parliament, government headquarters, the Cruising Club, the Hilton Hotel, the military cemetery where some of his ashes are buried, the Garrison, Culloden Farm, Ilaro Court.
Up next is Geralyn Edward with this week's commentary.
In Barbados, we have a tendency to kick the ball down the road. We don't confront an issue until there's no way it can be avoided. By that time, untold harm has already been done by lack of information and silence. That is why we are calling on the relevant government minister to confront head-on the issue of Muslim and Rastafarian women regarding headpieces when taking pictures for identification cards. Whenever religion and rights are involved, there is always heightened tension and potential for conflict. The issue has generated lots of discussion on the nation's Facebook page and website, with ignorant and sometimes derogatory comments leveled at both communities. Silence on such an important national issue serves no purpose. It is time to come out and clear the air.
In sport, if you are planning to attend the Barbados Relay Fair next month, don't worry about seating. Superintendent of the National Stadium, Colin Spencer, has assured patrons that tents and chairs will be provided on the Randolph Field Velodrome, while additional seating may be put in place on the eastern side of the facility. He was speaking at Tuesday's launch of the Relay Fair, which will be held on February 13th. Meanwhile, organizers have removed the 4x800 meters relay from the program, and there won't be any field events. And finally, firefighters in an Italian town were left in shock when a woman turned up at the station saying she needed help with a lock she could not open. Thinking she had locked herself out of her home, they asked for directions, only to be told she had lost the key to her chastity belt. They broke the iron lock on the device and then tried to find out if the woman had been forced to wear the belt or was a victim of domestic abuse. But that was not the case. The embarrassed middle-aged woman said she was wearing the chastity belt so she wouldn't be tempted to engage in a sexual relationship. And that's Nation News for Tuesday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember to pick up your Midweek Nation on Wednesday or subscribe to our e-paper. Thank you so much for joining us.